how they can manage their money. We always say that money is wealth. Like having money and health, there are two things that resonate with each and every person. So that's something that I truly like. It's at my heart.
Okay.
And this is something that I've been doing for the past 2 years, just working with young individuals like me to let them understand the basics of personal finance and to make them just build wealth sustainably. And I'm honored to be on this show today, waiting just to learn more and get more insight on personal finance. Thank you.
Karibu sana Wesonga. Utumi salamu.
Salamu wetu tumangi.
I have some money. I have like 50 Gs and I want to invest. Where can I invest in?
So before you make an investment, there are those things that you have to consider. You shouldn't just invest blindly.
Okay.
One, you have to understand what's your risk profile. Are you a low risk, a medium risk, or a high risk individual? Because if I tell you like maybe invest in a money market, because currently everyone is all about money market, and maybe you are someone who is a high risk investor, and you are someone who is not that patient, for you then chances are I have not helped you, because you are a high risk investor and money market is not for high risk investors. Money market is for low risk investors, and those people who are ready just to park their money somewhere, let it sit there, they'll use it in case they have an emergency. So one, before you make an investment, you just have to understand what's your risk profile. You also have to understand what's your long-term or even short-term financial goal. How long do I want to invest this money? For example, maybe you have that 50 Gs, as you said, and you want to invest it maybe in a period span of 1 year. If you want to invest it for 1 year, then you cannot buy a 10-year treasury bond because it will not have matured by that 1 year. Therefore, means you'll have to go for something that is flexible, maybe like a money market where you can liquidate anytime that you are ready to do so. Liquidate basically is just to withdraw. Yeah.
Okay. What were you taught about money when growing up? Were you taught or did you learn by yourself?
As we all know, in African setups, rarely do we talk about money.
Okay.
Maybe the convention is changing currently. Okay. Currently, there are those parents who are just introducing their children to money at a tender age. But when we were growing up, money conversations, it was rarely part of our conversations. Okay. Some of us, you either teach yourself about your money or you learn through just by doing it. But rarely were we taught about money. Okay. But if I were someone who has powers to do that, I'll recommend we should have a sexual financial literacy. Okay. This is a very, very critical area for anyone.
Okay. Yeah. Do you personally teach about financial literacy?
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Is it structured? Who do you teach? Do you teach teenagers? Do you teach elder people?
I mentioned earlier that my main target basically are the young individuals who are entering the job market, especially around 23 to 35 years of age. So those are the people whom I always target. But as I said, I'm always open to work with those, even the older and even the young ones. Because the young ones, they have to be taught about these things before they even get that job. Yeah, so for me, when I do my coaching, it's always structured. One, I always want to understand your financial goals. One thing, I'll ask some questions that will trigger you just to tell me why now do you consider financial literacy. Maybe there are those traumas or there are those things that have just made you realize that you need to do something. You need to do something better. Like there is a client I was dealing with. So just to probe and understand why now he wants to understand his finances, I noticed that it's because he has realized he wants to start a family soon. So I realized that he wants to do that planning. So after realizing that these are the goals of this person, then I'll now be able to structure that training in such a way that as much as we are focusing on personal finance, but we also now have to focus on household finance. If he starts this family, how is he going to manage those household finances?
Okay.
Yeah. So first thing is just to understand the financial goals. Why do you want to understand your money, and what are your long-term financial goals, what are your medium financial goals, and your short-term financial goals. Then now you structure a plan on how you can do that.
Okay. And where can people get you for your services? Where can people get you?
My services currently, I don't have like a strong digital presence.
Okay.
Mostly those people whom I interact with just in person. It has always been referrals, but soon I'm planning now to go fully like on just digital mode and ensure that I have my profiles on LinkedIn, X, and IG. But currently on LinkedIn, you can get me at Noah Wesonga.
Noah Wesonga.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what does financial freedom look like for you?
Okay. Financial freedom for me.
Yeah.
Financial freedom is different for everyone, actually.
Yeah.
You see, as we always say, personal finance is personal.
Yeah.
My view on money and your view on money are two different views.
Yeah.
But what personal financial freedom basically is like having that freedom like to do anything that you want to do at any time, anywhere, like without that fear of maybe my boss is going to follow up on me, I'm going to miss what, because you are independent. Even if you leave that job today, still tomorrow you will sustain yourself because you have been able to build that wealth. And that wealth is not just going to end with this generational. So financial freedom basically is like having the ability to do what you want at any time. Yeah.
Okay. What do you love most about what you're doing?
What I love most is just interacting with people and getting to hear their insights on money, the different perspectives on money. That human interaction is always superb.
Okay. There was something I read, and I want to ask you a question. Do you believe that how we were raised up on views of money affects us as adults on how we use our money?
Yes.
How and why?
I remember earlier you asked me whether finance is emotional.
Yeah.
The emotional bureau of finance.
Yeah.
And just to pick it from that point, how you are brought up at that tender age, and how your parents made you view money as is likely to affect you even when growing up. For example, you grow in a family where money is not a problem. Ask it, get it. Chances are that you will not understand the other aspect of life where there is someone who can't even get a 10 shillings for lunch or even for supper. There are those families who are going even hungry for a week, reason being they don't have money. But you have been raised in an abundant environment. So even when you grow up, you are likely to continue living on the same template. The way you were introduced is likely to affect you how you grow. That's why even when we grow up, at now our ages, you get to realize that we are different with our friends. Some of our friends are much spendthrift, while some of our friends are miser. Some of our friends protest things like budgeting, some don't, because they believe that we live once, YOLO. You only live once.
You live once.
Yeah.
Money will come and go.
Money will come and go. If you tell someone that invest, someone asks you, why should I invest? I had someone who asked me that question, why should I invest?
Oh.
Yeah, because he hasn't grown in such an environment.
Okay.
They believe that when I get money today, transactionary, I have to transact, I look for another money tomorrow. Yeah, but some of us were taught, you don't just live today. Also know that there is tomorrow. And tomorrow comes with its own curveballs. So now how are you going to control the boss that yeah. So basically how we were brought up really affects a lot of your money, even at our old age.
Okay. Do you think sometimes friends influence how we use money?
Peer pressure.
It's there.
Peer pressure, it's there.
Okay.
It's there. And I saw that in campus.
Okay. Yeah. What are some of the instances where have you ever actually been influenced in one way or another?
Personally, I've been influenced, but in a positive way.
Okay, in what way?
In a way whereby your friend is buying shares. So you also want to buy
Wow.
shares because he's buying
Guys
shares.
have friends who buy shares.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who invests a lot in the NSC, the Nairobi Stock Exchange.
Okay.
And at some point, I was actually somehow indifferent about it.
Okay.
But I saw that he bought it, though he bought it at a time when the NSC was not performing well.
Yeah.
So things didn't work for him. Though he held it for long and is now reaping the benefits. So I bought them because I have someone who has received those dividends.
Okay. What is the difference between being rich and being wealthy?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Richness basically is what we see. Like those Lamborghinis, those Ferraris, those Volvos on the road.
Okay.
Yeah, that's richness.
Wealth.
Wealth is what I don't see.
Oh,
You
wealth
see?
is what you don't see.
Wealth is what you don't see.
Okay.
Let's use two people. Let's just maybe use a case in point. A trader in a Gikomba.
Yeah.
Most of those people, you won't see their wealth because most of them, they're busy collecting stocks, doing what, just their day-to-day activities in the markets. But I've just come to realize that most of those people, they're the people who own plots here in Nairobi. They're the people who house us. You won't see what they have invested because they believe in the little thing that I get. I invested somewhere, maybe get a loan somewhere just to boost what I have, build an apartment. That apartment will sustain me in the future.
Yeah.
But some of us, you'll meet them here in town, well-dressed, some bands and all those things. But if you ask them, what will happen maybe if you are declared redundant at your place of work? They don't have a fallback plan. So there are people who are rich, but those people at Gikomba are wealthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you mean those who are working and not wealthy?
No.
What do you
That's
mean?
not the point. Just that even at work, let me assume that you're working somewhere. At your place of work, there are those people who like, you won't understand how they live. You won't be able to know if they have a car or not. But if you just do your own background search, you'll realize that these people, they have something. They have something somewhere. Okay. One, maybe they don't live in rentals. They have built their own home in Kitengela or somewhere.
Yeah.
You see? Yeah. So it's all about how do you plan yourself.
Okay.
There is no particular segment of people who will say that this is now the ideal route to wealth. I believe that there is no ideal route to wealth.
Okay.
Just how do you proactively plan yourself? Be it that you are an entrepreneur, be it that you are employed, Yeah. But the main target should be how are you now going to avoid, or rather to ensure that you are not caught up in the rat race.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is that financial habits you see so many people doing and it's not the right thing to do?
There's what you call FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So you just want, today I'm using shares a lot. You want to buy shares because someone has said that investing in shares is a good thing.
Yeah.
But you don't understand, like, there is that entry and there is that exit point. So you haven't done your background search to understand at what point should I enter and at what point should I exit.
Okay.
So we just want to do things because others are doing it. Reason being, we feel like this thing might come to an end before I benefit from that. It is that FOMO, and another thing is lifestyle creep.
Okay.
My salary has been adjusted to meet the inflation. The inflationary, yeah, maybe it has been adjusted by 6%. So you don't realize that this 6% is meant to cover the inflation aspect and not to increase your standard of living. So you decide I want to upgrade my life. I want to move to a new house. I want to upgrade my wardrobe. I want to do all those things. But at the end of it all, you realize that that 6K that you added on top of what you are earning, or maybe on the 100K that you are earning, that 6K just meant to cover for inflation. You go to the market, you go to the supermarket, you notice that a loaf of bread that you are buying at 55 is now 64 bob.
Yeah.
See, it has taken a hit on your income. So those two things, lifestyle inflation and FOMO, the fear of missing out, are two things that I've seen. Many people are doing it. They believe that this may be a good thing, but it's not a good thing.
Okay. Do you teach? Now, I'm very interested. Do you teach on shares and bonds and bills and?
Yeah, I do teach on those things.
Okay, online or physical?
Physical, as I said, mostly my engagements are in person mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm yet to go that full digital mode.
Okay.
But soon I'll be doing that.
It's weird.
Why? In a digital age.
Yeah.
You see, as I said, fear of missing out. I'm not a formal person. So.
No, just say you're a millennial.
No.
And you'll understand.
Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. there is a path to this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's something that I'm considering.
Okay.
But I teach all those forms of investment.
Okay, guys, if you want to reach out to Noah, you can let me know in the comment section, and maybe I'm gonna reach out to him directly. So now, what is your advice to a young man in his 20s or 30s, and he's trying his best, but the economy is doing the thing? Yeah, and he's really struggling, living from hand to mouth, and not saving yet. What is your advice?
My advice is that one, even before I advise that person, is that I want to tell that person that you cannot outgrow the basics.
Yeah.
Start by understanding the basics. Start by understanding the basics of personal finance. Then once you've understood the basics, then ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in the next 1 year? And the basics of personal finance, there is something I call the personal finance journey. Like, how can you just navigate the whole financial journey? And for me, I always structure it this way. Number one, we start with the income generation. So how do you generate income? And there are 3 ways of generating income. One, primary sources. Primary sources, maybe you are someone who is employed, so you fully rely on employment, or you are someone who is an entrepreneur, fully rely on entrepreneurial income. Then number 2, there is secondary income. Maybe there is something that you are doing aside your main job. Then now number 3, there is that passive income. You have invested your time and you have invested your money, and now with the hope of generating some returns. Those are the 3 ways how you can generate income. So you have to ensure that you diversify. You see, like you go hard on these 3 aspects and just ensure that you generate a lot of money. Then once you've now generated this money, you are okay. The next step is how are you now going to preserve this money that you are generating? Because what's the point of working so hard and yet you have you're working so hard, but then you can't account for this money? So number 2 is how are you going to preserve this money? And that's now when you talk over, you save in some well-selected areas. For example, currently you can use a case of money market funds. Money market is like an investment, but somehow it's also one way of saving, because it has that it has some good liquidity, it has some returns. It's much better as compared to other investment channels. So number 2 is just preservation. Then now that you've preserved, you believe that you have a lot. Next thing is how are you now going to accumulate this money that you have preserved? So with the wealth, or rather with the income accumulation, is now when you bring in the aspect of investment. Remember, you have saved in step 2. After saving is now what you have saved is now what you're going to invest. Because you see, you can also not invest what you haven't saved. Yeah. So you have to start by just preserving it, and now go to step 3 of accumulation. Accumulation is saving, and with saving, remember to diversify. Just save in different aspects.
What do you mean?
Okay, to diversify.
Yeah, to diversify your savings.
Not savings, your investments.
Oh, your invest. Okay.
Yeah, to diversify your investments.
Okay.
Don't just put all your eggs in one bucket.
What if what if you only have 2 eggs?
If you have 2 eggs, those 2 eggs, then ensure that one egg
What do you mean?
Try to separate those 2 eggs.
For real?
Yeah. Diversification actually is very, very key.
What are some of the ways in which one can diversify in investing?
To diversify in investing, one is just ask yourself, how much do I have? And this is the total amount of money that I have. What are now those goals that I have? Maybe in the next 1 year, I want to achieve this and that. And maybe in the next 5 years, I want to achieve this and that. So even in the next 1 year, this is what you want to achieve. Perhaps you can consider something that will work for you for that 1 year. But if that 5 years, you want to achieve something, you can also consider now to play the long game and invest in something that is long dated, like the treasury bonds, and even buy like shares and hold them. If you aren't a day trader, just buy and hold them.
Can you kindly get deep into diversifying? Like, what are some of the diversification platforms? You've talked about the shares. You've talked of bills. You've talked of bonds. What other, or are those the main ones?
Okay, so maybe before I dive deep into that question, just allow me to finish on that bit of personal finance journey. We want step 3 of wealth accumulation. Now, step 4 is wealth, or rather income protection.
Okay.
You have invested almost everywhere, but now life happens. There are a lot of things that happen in this life. Some are just course of nature. Maybe you have invested heavily in a business, mandamano happens, heavy floods happen, it wipes away everything that you have invested in. So it is at this point where I talk of step 4, and step 4 basically is all about wealth protection. And with wealth protection, you can consider insurance, or you can consider still diversification.
Okay.
So now let me go into diversification. When we talk of diversification, basically, diversification is like asking yourself, I have a crate of eggs. And this crate of eggs, I'm giving my 5-year child maybe just to go upstairs with these eggs. And they are on a crate. What might happen if maybe he drops down? Because sometimes he even might not have the strength to carry that one tray of egg.
Yeah.
So chances are, if he drops down with all those eggs in a crate, all of them will drop down and they're likely to break. So when we talk of diversification, we mean what you'll do is maybe you're going to divide those eggs maybe in a 5-5-5 in different buckets or in different trays. So that when you fall, you are one will break, but the other 4 or 5 will remain intact. So basically, diversification in investments, just considering different ways, like different investment platforms. You are not going just for one platform. You are going for different platforms. And for these platforms, they are serving different purposes. For example, you have your emergency fund, because an emergency can occur. So what will happen if emergency occurs today and I don't have a fallback plan? You have an emergency fund. Emergency funds, things like money markets, they work well with the emergency funds. Sometimes some people might just consider maybe to have some little money in their bank accounts or even in their M-Pesa just for that liquidity. You can just have that emergency fund. Then you can now consider investing in other things like maybe real estate, things such as shares that you have talked about, treasury bills, treasury bonds, some even invest even in crypto and all those things. Because, when we talk of financial assets, we have, I think it's like four financial assets. Have what you call cash and cash equivalents. Cash and cash equivalents is where now you can liquidate this money
Easily.
Yeah. Then you have what you call now the fixed assets, fixed income assets. Fixed income assets, now they are the bonds. These ones, like the interest rates remains fixed. Then you have now the equity assets. The equity now, this is where the stock exchange comes in. Then we also have now what you call the alternative investments. Alternative investment, these are basically, most of them, they are high risk. Now these are things like crypto, those cryptos, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, they call it
what?
Solana. Yeah, those like those, that are what you call the the alternative investment. So those 4 different types of assets, financial assets, you can consider how are you going to split your investments into these 4 different assets. Because these 4 different assets, they all have their pros and cons. They have the advantages and disadvantages. Like if you invest in Bitcoin, you might get like 110% profit, but you might also get 110% loss. If you invest in money market, you'll get that 10%, but you are sure you won't get a negative.
Okay.
You see? So just ensure that you diversify, like you consider investing in all those 4 assets, but ensure that one, just do your due diligence. That's number 1, by the way. For anyone who wants to do an investment, ensure you do a due diligence. Basically, due diligence is just like a background check to understand that this thing that I want to invest in is actually going to work for me. I hope I've answered your question on diversification.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've answered. Thank you so much. Okay, now I have someone. I know of someone who has a huge debt, but he also wants to invest somewhere. What is your advice? Should he use the money he has to first clear off the debt and get into investing? Or maybe he's employed, he can just be clearing the debt while investing in this other side.
Debt management is a very, very serious topic, actually. But just a disclaimer on debt management. One thing that I always say is that never borrow. Like, don't borrow to finance your investments.
Okay.
What you do, because it's like you are adding a burden to yourself. Most people don't realize the effects of debt on our cash flows. Debts are so expensive in terms of interest rates, some other charges that you might not understand, And borrowing a debt to repair another debt is like, let me use Kiswahili, it's like kuchimba hii shimo, kujaza hii shimo ingine. Basically, you are still in that shimo. So what I'll advise such a person is, number 1, just start by paying off the debts that you have. By paying off these debts, it will have reduced to the burden of high interest rates. So after you've paid these debts is when now you'll consider starting to invest. Because at this point of investing now, you don't have something that, like, you have reduced the income leakages. Okay. But just start by paying off those debts. And when you talk of paying debts, you can consider using 2 approaches. Perhaps you can maybe consider paying those debts that have the small debts that you have, just to give you that peace of mind. Or you can consider starting paying off that debt that has like a high interest rate. Because the one that has high interest rate is eating a lot into your cash flow. So pay it off to ensure that now you reduce the burden that you have, the financial burden.
Okay. Now where do I start? Maybe I'm employed, or maybe I have a side hustle and I'm getting something.
Yeah.
But I have not been doing anything in investing also. I believe in tomorrow will cater for itself.
Okay.
But then now I want to be serious to start. Where can I start?
1, ask yourself, why do you want to do this?
Okay. Because I'm hearing people are doing it.
Now that's where you get it wrong. Because we're hearing people are doing it.
Okay.
And you don't understand why they are doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because actually there are those people who they won't even invest. But these people, maybe they have generational wealth, what you call the old money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe their parents, they have plots everywhere. They bought Safaricom shares when they were 2 bob. They have almost everything. And now these people, they are going to inherit that.
Okay.
To such a person, to him, something like saving is not even a priority.
Okay.
And now, such a person, when you want to rely on such a person for advice, then it won't work for you.
Okay.
And maybe another person is saving because he has a lot of surplus. He has a lot of income such that, like, he has a few competing needs. So what he can do is just to save. And you are here, you don't even understand. So you save, or rather you decide to invest somewhere, and you end up like the game, it goes against you. Because sometimes an investment is expensive.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's expensive?
Why do I say it's expensive? Assuming that you invest today, maybe you buy like that bond today, and tomorrow you realize that you are in a fix. You are not liquid at all. The only thing that's between like you and death is that investment that you made in that bond.
Yeah.
So you'll be forced to recall. You'll be forced to liquidate.
Okay.
And to liquidate, you might be penalized because it hasn't matured.
Okay.
One, you aren't going to get the full amount of money that you invested. Then number two, you have to pay maybe your financial advisor just to facilitate that process.
Okay.
That's why I say savings is expensive. Maybe you have even invested yesterday in a money market. You want to withdraw today. You are using a transaction fee of like 100 Kenya shillings. Now that's where the expensiveness comes in. So before you start doing this investment, maybe you are someone who is still at step one. You remember the first stages that I gave you? You're someone who's still at step one of
Saving.
step one is you are still now generating. So perhaps you just have to focus on how are you going to generate more money? How are you going to go hard on your primary, on your secondary, before you now focus on these passive investments.
Okay.
So what I'll advise you on that is that one, ensure that you have you are well liquid, because liquidity, they say cash is king actually. Ensure that you have something in your pocket before you consider investing or saving somewhere. Just before you consider locking your money somewhere, ensure that you already have something with you, because emergencies do happen in this life.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your take on credit cards and taking loans for business? Yeah. Because we say taking loans personal to finance yourself is a death sentence, for lack of a better word. So what is your take on taking loans to expand your business, and maybe credit cards where you use, you'll pay later?
Okay. Just an overview before we dive deep into that. There are two types of debt, right?
Yeah.
There is a good debt and a bad debt.
Okay.
A good debt basically is now the producer debt.
Okay.
Like taking a debt today, maybe to finance your education if you're well. That is, if you go to school and finish. That's a good debt.
If you don't finish, that's a bad debt.
Bad debt.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe taking a loan to finance a business that you've seen the potential, not just a business that is going under. So you feel like you want to expand that business. Maybe the problem is like your people management is poor. Your problem is not financial. It's not like a financial, it's not cash flows. So I think for that, debt is not bad. Debt works for a lot of people. And they always say in business, many people use other people's money to generate income. But now the question is, how are you going to use other people's money efficiently to work for you?
Come up again.
How are you going to use other people's money to work for you efficiently?
Okay.
For example, if you take a debt from a bank, if I take a debt from a bank, it's like I'm borrowing money from, assuming that you have a savings account in a bank. You have saved with them, and now I'm coming to borrow that money. It's like I'm taking your money to see. So
Yeah, okay.
I have to repay the bank to ensure that now for the bank to pay you back your money. Okay. So it's like now you have invested my business without knowing.
Okay.
So, but for me who has taken that money, I'm obliged to repay. You must pay. And if you won't pay, maybe it's a default. Like if you default, you might be put on CRB, and we know what it means on that. So before you take debt, any form of debt, me always say that just ensure that this debt it's going to remove you from point A and put you in point B. Even if it's a business debt, let's not just assume that all business debts are good debts.
Okay.
I've seen some business debts are bad debts. You take for example, you take like 1 million. You have a startup idea. Maybe you want to do something on AI, and you yourself, you don't even have a background on AI.
See, I employ people who have who
You
know
employ
AI.
people.
Yeah.
So before even you bring these people on board, do you yourself know how to manage people?
Okay, I don't know.
Okay. Those are questions that you have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, but before you take that loan, if you are an entrepreneur, ensure that your problem is financial problem and not a processes, systems, or structures issue in your organization.
How do I know that it's not a financial problem and it's a personal structure people's problem?
Of course, if you are someone who is an entrepreneur and who is interacting with your employees, you are likely to understand that.
Okay.
Or sometimes you may bring in professionals to do that for you, just for them to understand where the issue is.
Okay.
And that's something on credit cards. Credit cards, I don't use them personally, but credit cards, it's like you are flizzering your future. Because this is something ultimately you'll have to pay it.
Okay.
Human beings will have a lot of convenience,
Yeah.
and there is no free convenience. We don't realize that there is no free convenience. There is what you call convenience tax.
Okay.
Yeah. So you feel like, let me just use my credit card and maybe I'll pay at the end of the month. But then you yourself, maybe you have cash, but you've forgotten that cash in the house. So you're opting for this credit card because you couldn't carry cash, because credit cards is so much convenience. So how do you carry it? Yeah. But if you have like good plan, or rather good relationship with your bank, yeah, credit, but they're not bad,
Okay.
provided that it's also financing something that is not a luxury. Yeah, it's financing a need to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you are not like taking a credit card just to take someone out. At least it's something that it's working for you, not against you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still getting back to my question, which I asked. I am earning. I'm getting something. I haven't invested. I'm now ready to invest. But I'm a bit confused. I'm hearing, bonds, bills. What is the first thing I need to do to start investing? Yeah.
One, do you have the money?
Yeah, I have the money.
Do you have an emergency fund?
Not yet.
Okay, so start with an emergency fund first.
Okay.
Emergency fund basically is like asking yourself, what happens next month if my salary delays?
Okay.
The answer is emergency fund.
Okay.
So start with funding your emergency fund.
Okay.
And then financial, we always say that your emergency fund should be in a position to cover your expenses for like 3 to 6 months. Some say like 6 to even more months.
Okay.
Like, for example, what happens if you are an entrepreneur and things are not working for like 4 months? What are you going to do? For the 4 months, you are now going to rely on your emergency fund. So you have that money. Ensure that one, you have some liquid. You are well liquidated. You have some liquid, basically is cash. You have some cash that will help you just, your day-to-day purchases, your day-to-day transactions. Then now, number 2, consider setting up an emergency fund. Emergency fund, as I've said, that's like your fallback plan.
Okay.
Then number 3, now you can ask yourself, now that I have an emergency fund, I have some good cash flows, what do I want to achieve in the near future? Maybe I want to construct a house somewhere. Now you set up what you call, we call it a sinking fund. Basically, a sinking fund, you've decided that I want to save a certain amount of money for a certain period. So you are opening these accounts, but you already know in your mind, you already know that they want to save maybe 300,000 to construct a house. So you are now going to start savings towards, you are going to save that 300K. So once you have that financial goal, is when now you'll do a due diligence to understand which investment platforms are available in the market and which ones are going to serve my needs. So when selecting an investment platform, there are those considerations, of course, that you have to do. Number one is you understand your risk profile. I mentioned it earlier. Just understand what type of an investor are you. Are you someone who is a low risk or a high risk investor? If you understand that maybe you're a high risk investor, then perhaps you can go for those high risk options that are available. You can consider investing in the stock exchange. You can consider investing in those alternative investments, the Bitcoins and all those things. Okay. But if you realize that you are a low risk investor, you can consider now things like treasury bills and bonds. Those are low risk. You can also consider things like money markets. The number two, of course, you have to ask yourself on the duration of investment. For how long do I want to do this? Maybe if I want to invest for the next 1 year, which platform would work for me? Like what will work specifically for this 1 year? Okay. If I buy, let me just use an example that I used earlier. If I buy a bond, maybe a 10-year bond, and I want to invest for 1 year, it won't work for me. Because for this 1 year, I want to liquidate, but I'm not in a position because the bond has not matured. Okay. Another consideration basically is like the legitimacy of your investment let me call it partner, quote unquote, like the platform where you want to invest in. For example, you want to invest at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Which broker are you going to use? What's the legitimacy? What are the transaction fees and all those background information?
If I come to you and I want to invest in stocks, is it something you'll guide me to it?
Yeah, I will guide you on how you can go about it. Okay. And on daily updates, I may just refer you to other people who are doing it. Because as much as I'm a financial advisor, I'm not an investment analyst. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. What is your biggest financial mistake you've made so far?
I think my biggest financial mistake is that I didn't buy Bitcoin when I was young. That's the biggest financial mistake.
You could have bought it when you were young.
Wow. I think it was around 20, those years when it was first introduced in the markets. Okay. Some people actually even offering it for free. Like it was so much available, but some of us we saw it like just one form of manipulation, rather scam. Yeah. Because we know you're used to being scammed. Yeah. So one of the biggest financial mistakes is that one. I didn't buy that.
Okay. Yeah. What is that one advice you think that every person should hear concerning money?
That advice is that the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to start is today. Okay. So don't procrastinate anything on your financial management. Don't procrastinate anything that related with your management of finances. If you feel like you have a dip somewhere and you want to learn on finances, just learn it today. If you feel that you want to make that investment, do it today. The more you wait, the more you lose. So don't procrastinate.
Okay. Yeah. So many words in such. Okay. Any final word? What is something? I usually ask this question. What is something you're proud of? And your younger self will be very proud of. Yeah. What is that?
I think my younger self would be proud that I just took the initiative of talking about financial management. Okay. Because as I told you, I saw some of financial mismanagements when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. Of course, at that point, I didn't understand and I wasn't even bothered. But as I have grown up and became of age, just introspected and understood, this was the challenge. These people are failing because they didn't understand this. So my younger self will be proud that this boy has just taken the initiative and he wants to talk about it. He wants to talk about something that he realized wasn't working for a lot of people. Yeah.
Is this money coaching something you would want to do long term?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Okay, where do you see it getting you into? How do I say it? Envision your coaching journey.
My coaching journey.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the next maybe 3 years or so.
It seems like an interview question. Anyway. I think it's a great venture.
Okay.
Because I've noticed that many people are just becoming cautious of their money. In a shrinking economy, an economy where a shilling yesterday is worthless today, many people want to understand how are they going to manage these finances, just for them maybe to keep like that 70 cents and not to keep that 30 cents. Many people have noticed that nowadays are so financially woke, quote unquote. Many people just want to understand insights on financial management. And now these are the people who we are targeting. These are the people who we just want to ensure that we work with them in that journey. Because, they always say that if you want to go far, go with people. But if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But now that fastness of yours, are you sure you'll sustain it in the long run?
Okay.
So if you want to go far, just accept to work with a professional, someone who can guide you step by step on how you can do some of these things. Yeah. So these are the field that it's a great field, and I see myself in the next 3 years. I see myself actually running a serious personal finance consultancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any last word for you, my audience? You can look at the camera and talk to my audience.
Just want to tell them they are amazing people. And but now what they have to do, they have to be mindful of their finances.
Yeah.
Let them just take that action. Let them sit down, understand their finances. Let them do budgeting. Though we didn't talk about budgeting.
Oh, yeah.
But now, let them just sit down and understand, what are my expenses? What are my incomes? What are those side incomes that I always receive, unexpectedly? Sit down and budget for that income. Once they have budgeted for that income, let them now consider long-term financial goals. For example, because one thing with budgeting is that budgeting tells your money where to go. So ensure that you have a working budget. Don't just rely on those working budgets. Don't rely on those formulas around the 50, 20, 30, around the what. Yeah. Just consider what are your needs, what are your wants, what is your income level. Then come up with a budget that works for you, and ensure that you track all your expenses. It's very, very key. I've tried doing that and it has actually worked for me. When you track your expenses and at the end of the month, you just sit down and review, you'll realize you are wasting a lot of money on unnecessary things. And next month, you are now going to review on that. So I want to tell you, take action today. Today, not tomorrow. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's it for today. I have been your host, Mercy Dube. See you in the next episode. Bye.